Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Blickman, and I'm the Senior Training Director with the Back2Blue campaign here in Pennsylvania. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Blickman, and I'm the Senior Training Director with the Back2Blue campaign here in Pennsylvania. Welcome to your volunteer canvassing and lit drop training. First, today is Election Day in Pennsylvania. Welcome. Today, we'll talk about why we canvass and lit drop, go through our health and safety protocols. I'll walk you through your canvass or lit drop shift, and then we'll share some Q&A and takeaways. So first, you're going to complete this training and learn everything that you need to know about canvassing and lit dropping. You'll download and set up Minivan, and Minivan is the app that we will use to know which voters we should reach. And of course, you're going to get out the vote in Pennsylvania and help turn PA back to blue. So why do we canvass and lit drop? First, it allows us to reach some voters that we cannot otherwise contact, whether that's on text, digital, email, phones. We are also able to do additional outreach to voters that we have called or texted and might need an extra push. And then we can share key information about voting and how to do it properly. Our work matters so much. We know that a voter is the least likely to vote if we don't have any contact with them. A phone call increases their likelihood, lit dropping even more, and then a door knock the most. Because what we know is that an in-person neighbor-to-neighbor conversation right before voting is the single most effective tactic to turn someone out to vote. And that's been proved time and time again by the Analyst Institute, where they found that when we have a conversation with a voter within 10 days of voting and use the right language, we can increase their likelihood to vote. It's pretty powerful stuff. Here are health and safety protocols for your canvassing and lit dropping. First, know that our health and safety of volunteers and voters is our top priority, and that all safety protocols must be followed by every staff member and volunteer. To that end, today, you must complete this training as well as the volunteer health and safety acknowledgement form. You must not have a temperature over 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, be experiencing any COVID or flu-like symptoms. You mustn't have been in contact with anyone who has tested positive for COVID in the past 2 weeks, and you must not have tested positive for COVID yourself in the past 2 weeks. If you do not meet these criteria, you are not permitted to canvass or lit drop. To that end, today everything will be contactless. Your mask must be worn over your nose and mouth at all times. You need to keep at least 6 feet of distance from others at all times. And after knocking on the door or ringing the doorbell if you're a canvasser, take at least 6 big steps back from the door. And all literature will be left on the door or on the doormat. Here's what you'll do before your canvass or lit drop shift. First, when you arrive, you'll fill out our Pennsylvania in-person check-in form and have your temperature taken. If you have questions while you're there or while you're out in the field, you'll have the phone number of a point of contact that you can get in touch with. This is what will happen during that lit dropping canvas shift. First, you'll go to the correct home, which is the address listed in the Minivan app. If you're canvassing, you'll knock on the door. If you're lit dropping, you'll just leave a piece of lit. Then ring the doorbell and knock loudly. If you'd like, you could use a golf ball or small object to knock on the door. Then take 6 big steps back. That way you'll have proper social distance when someone answers the door. You can wait about 30 seconds, and if no one answers, go to the next house on your list. If someone does answer, wave and greet the voter. Introduce yourself as a volunteer with the PA Democrats, and always make sure that you're talking to the voter that matches the name on your list. You also need to speak with each voter on your list who lives in the household. Don't forget that. And remember to make distancing and health and safety protocols throughout the interaction. Follow the script, but make it yours. You can record and will record the responses in the Minivan app, but don't just read off your phone. You should make eye contact and connect with the voter. And don't feel pressured to know every answer. For the policy questions, refer them to the voter or candidate's website and to the literature. For questions on voting that you don't know, refer them to iwillvote.com/PA. You should generally spend no more than 5 minutes with any one voter. When you finish the conversation, thank them for being a voter, leave a piece of lit, and you can keep on moving. There are some important do's and don'ts of canvassing and lit dropping. First, do finish your entire list. Use the script, but make it real. You should be friendly, but persistent. Be sure to maintain social distance and wear your mask properly, speak loudly and clearly, and of course, have fun, because what we're doing is fun. You should wave and greet the person who answers the door, and remember that no one can see your smile with that mask on. Please do not put literature in a mailbox, don't be rude or get into an argument, and don't give the voter an out such as, "Do you have a minute?" or "Are you busy?" No soft language. Please don't make any physical contact and don't enter anyone's home. If you run into someone in the field who is hostile, leave the house, and if it's necessary, go somewhere safe. If someone asks you why the campaign is canvassing, tell them that you're working to ensure that everyone in your community has a plan to vote and that we're taking safety precautions. Here's what the conversation we'll have with voters will look like, but first, a couple key pieces. Polls today are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Generally, voters do not need to bring identification, but if they're voting in their precinct for the first time, they will need to show ID. And examples include a PA driver's license or penned out ID card, ID from the US government or any Commonwealth agency, US passport, US Forces ID, student ID, or current utility bill, bank statement, or paycheck. This is all in the script. You could run into a voter who still has a mail ballot in hand. First of all, it is too late to mail in their ballot. Instead, encourage them to return their vote by mail ballot in person to their county elections office or a drop box by 8 p.m. today, and probably earlier because county elections offices have different hours. They could also bring their full ballot package to their polling place where it will be spoiled and then they can vote a regular ballot. But without that full package, including the secrecy envelope and the return envelope, they'll have to vote via a provisional ballot. You could also run into a voter that has not received their mail ballot. In that case, again, they need to go to the county elections office in person today before it closes to request that new ballot. They could also see if it arrives today and then return it via a drop box before 8 p.m. Last, they could go in person to their polling place to vote via a provisional ballot before 8 p.m. And something to keep in mind is that drop boxes are locked at 8 p.m. You cannot be in line at a drop box at 8 p.m. Your ballot must be inside of the drop box by 8 o'clock. If a voter has a question or needs help, direct them to our hotline at 1-833-PA-VOTES. They can also request rides to the polls there. And you can look up important information at iwillvote.com/PA. You always start your conversation with a greeting. "Hi, my name is Megan. Is Kamala Harris available?" We'll remind them that today is election day and ask them if they have a plan to vote and if they know where their polling location is. In Minivan, you'll see the polling location on the details page, sort of on the lower half. In this example, Marie's polling place is the Silverdale Borough Building, and the address is 100 Park Avenue West. When they make a plan, we remind them that the polls are open until 8 p.m., but they should really just go now. We ask them, what time will they go? How will they get there? And if they need a ride, we encourage them to call our Rides to the Polls hotline at 833-728-6837. Then we remind them about bringing their ID if they're going to be voting in their precinct for the first time. As always, if folks have questions or need help, we direct them to the hotline. If someone still has that mail ballot in hand, remember there are 3 options. First, drop their ballot off at the county elections office before it closes today. They could also drop their ballot at official county drop boxes by 8 p.m., but remember they're shut down at exactly 8, so just don't delay. And last, they can bring that full ballot package to the polling place where it will be spoiled, but if they don't bring the ballot in all of its envelopes, they'll vote provisionally. Again, it is too late to mail the ballot in. Like I said earlier, you could also run into someone who has requested but not received their ballot. Remember, the options are to go to the county elections office today in person to request a new ballot, and this really is a viable option. They could also see if it comes in the mail and then bring it to a drop box today ahead of that 8 p.m. deadline. And last, go to the polling location and vote via a provisional ballot. When someone has already voted, we can sign off. We thank them for being a voter, but then we also ask them to think of a few people that they might be able to call or text right now to remind them to vote. This is called vote tripling, and it really helps you increase your impact. In addition, any conversation that you have with the voter, whether they still have that mail ballot or they need to go to the polling place, we always at the very end thank them for being a voter and committing to raising their voice this year. And we vote triple here as well. We encourage them to bring a few friends, and don't forget ID and to bring a mask. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day. Here's what you can expect for canvassing and lit dropping today. First, if you are experiencing COVID or flu-like symptoms, you cannot canvass or lit drop. Please maintain distance and proper safety. Don't shake hands or make physical contact. Don't put literature in mailboxes. On average, you'll have 40 to 60 doors on your list, and you need to finish it today. Be sure to sync your data as you canvass and lit drop, and also at the end when the shift is finished. You should expect to be canvassing for about 2 hours or more, so have your fully charged phone. Let's get into Minivan a little bit. So first of all, Minivan is the app that you can use on Android or iPhone to know which voters to reach. And in that app, you see a list of addresses in the neighborhood who are our supporters. This is how you'll know which voters to contact. Okay, so get out your phone and get ready to download Minivan. You can do it in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Just search for and download Minivan. A couple of notes on the symbols. So first of all, if a voter has requested their ballot or if they've already voted, you'll be able to note that in Minivan. Like you saw earlier, you'll also be able to see the voters' election day polling locations. So like I said earlier, polling location is under the details page. Again, here it is, Marie, she's back. Her polling location is Silverdale Borough Building at 100 Park Avenue West. If the voter has requested and been mailed their ballot, the voted status will read BAL mail. And if so, make a plan with them to return their ballot today. If they've already voted, a blue V for next to voted will show up next to the voter's name. If anyone in that household is over the age of 75, just leave lit for the voter and don't knock. Age is under the voter's name. In this example, James is 75. You can record voters' responses by going to the script section on the voters page. If you're not able to reach the voter, just select I couldn't reach this contact if you don't have that conversation and choose the reason why. If you're canvassing and someone is not home, you should never select lit dropped. Select the actual reason that you couldn't contact them. On an iPhone, you can just swipe right on the contact's name from list view to mark them as not home. Just a little shortcut. When you do have a conversation, you should record voter survey questions on each bit of the script. And of course, as you get towards the end of the script, be sure to vote triple by getting 3 other people to join you in voting today on election day. And then you should always end every conversation with an ask to volunteer. It's not too late. Someone could definitely get out in the field today. And of course, thank the voter for their time. I'm sure you're wondering how you enter in data for dropping lit at a voter's home. So first of all, lit droppers, once you're at the home and you've left lit, select I could not reach this contact, and then select lit dropped. And just remember, if you are canvassing and the voter is not home, you will leave a piece of lit, but be sure to mark them not home. Only lit droppers should use the lit dropped response. And don't forget to sync your data throughout your shift, which you can do by tapping the cloud on the top right corner of the app to send your results to our database, and then we're able to keep following up with voters. You can also check your progress by clicking the 3 blue lines on the top left of the main menu. From there, you select list details to select your progress. Here are the materials that you'll have. First, you'll have a Minivan guide to help you out, as well as a volunteer canvassing guide, voter protection FAQ, PPE, well, you can provide masks and gloves, but feel free to bring your own. And you can always ask a staff member or volunteer if you have any questions. All right, let's go into our next steps. First, today is election day, and we need you to complete more than one canvassing or lit drop today. Then always be sure to complete that health and safety questionnaire. And of course, you can always review our materials at padems.com/GOTV. Thank you so much for being here and helping to bring Pennsylvania back to blue. Let's do this thing.